quiet time. Hey friends, and welcome to today's episode of Fruitful Friday. Woo! In today's Fruitful Friday, we're going to be looking at Exodus. My good sis, Exodus, okay? We're going to be looking at Exodus chapter 2, specifically verses 11 through 22. And this specific section is a section I like to call check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because we're going to be looking at my good homie Moses, who definitely did not do that. I'm going to be reading in the New Living Translation today. We like to switch up translations over here because, you know, sometimes you need a little bit more of a modern chop to the neck. Sometimes you need a little more ye art thou tripping, okay? So let's go. Let's get into it. So picking it up in Exodus chapter 2, verses 11 through 15. The section title is Moses Escapes to Midian. Many years later, when Moses had grown up, he went out to visit his own people, the Hebrews, and he saw how hard they were forced to work. During his visit, he saw an Egyptian beating one of his fellow Hebrews. After looking in all directions to make sure no one was watching, Moses killed the Egyptian and hid the body in the sand. Clearly, he was looking in all type of directions except for up, because the next day, when Moses went out to visit his people again, he saw two Hebrew men fighting. "Why are you beating up your friend?" Moses said to the one who had started the fight. The man replied, "Who appointed you to be our prince and judge? Are you going to kill me as you killed that Egyptian yesterday?" Then Moses was afraid, thinking, "Everyone knows what I did." And sure enough, Pharaoh heard what had happened and he tried to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in the land of Midian. When Moses arrived in Midian, he sat down beside a well. So what I just read here was a clear example of taking matters into your own hands, literally. Moses kills a guy trying to get revenge on the Egyptians for enslaving his people, and it ends up being in vain because his people, the two Hebrew men who were fighting, called him out on his sin of murder. Like, one of the men literally says, "Who appointed you to be our prince and judge? Are you gonna kill me like you killed that Egyptian?" Like, it wasn't Moses's place to get involved in a fight that didn't concern him if he didn't even want to acknowledge his own sin. And it's wild, actually, because it reminds me of Matthew chapter 7, verse 5, and I wrote it down here. I went to cross-reference it. In the NLT version, it says, "Hypocrite, first get rid of the log in your own eye, then you will see enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye." Okay? Clearly, Moses had other things in his heart to deal with rather than the situation that was going on in front of him that he decided to involve himself in. So let's continue on to see what happens next. Verse 16. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters who came as usual to draw water and fill the water troughs for their father's flocks. But some other shepherds came and chased them away. So Moses jumped up and rescued the girls from the shepherds. Then he drew water for their flocks. When the girls returned to Reuel, their father, he asked, "Why are you back so soon today?" "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds," they answered, "and then he drew water for us and watered our flocks." "Then where is he?" their father asked. "Why did you leave him there? Invite him to come and eat with us." Moses accepted the invitation and he settled there with them. In time, Reuel gave Moses his daughter Zipporah to be his wife. Later she gave birth to a son, and Moses named him Gershom, for he explained, "I have been a foreigner in a foreign land." So Moses runs away to Midian right after he gets super scared because like, Pharaoh's about to off me, dude, let me get out of here. So he runs away to Midian. And after a series of events, you know, he sits at the well, there's women there, they start getting bullied by these other shepherds, and he's like, "Hey, stop it." And then he goes and, helps them out, you know? And they go and tell their father and stuff like that, you know, we just read it. So he goes to eat with this Midianite and then marries his daughter and has a son, and then he names him Gershom. His explanation for that being, "I have been a foreigner in a foreign land." And I'm reading I have the little Bible app pulled up side screen, my notes are over here. So I clicked on the little ellipses next to Gershom, and it says that Gershom sounds like a Hebrew term that means a foreigner there, right? So a lot of concepts of being foreigners, you know, you see going on here. And considering the fact that he considered himself a foreigner in a foreign land, and foreign literally means strange and unfamiliar, Moses must have known that where he was wasn't where he should be. But his fear of consequence of his sin in the first place was what led him to run away. So what I got from this and from this whole thing was, don't run from your sin. Like, there are several things that we know that we do either accidentally or on purpose that we're like, man, I should not have done that. And myself, just to share, I'm naturally somebody who has like a guilty conscience, naturally. And so I'll be like, oh, like I start feeling tense. But in that moment, the most important thing is not to run away. You know, it's not to let it define you. Like, your sin isn't supposed to define you. Like, he let it define him when he ran away, and he named his son basically after it, right? No, the call is to deal with it righteously. And you might be like, nah, I don't know how to deal with my sin righteously. Like, what does that even look like? What are the steps I need to take? Well, see this right here? This is my Instagram handle. Just DM me and I'll get you squared away. We'll set up a Bible study and you'll learn practically what it looks like to deal with your sin righteously. So that's Exodus chapter 2, and this was Fruitful Friday. To God be all the glory.